These powerful reminders in Surah Al-Mu'minun, there's an example at the end of the surah of the journey of the soul and how the soul transitions. And there are many examples that are positive and motivational and uplifting in the Quran. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the positive and the negative in terms of the glad tidings and the warnings so that we can choose. How do we want to live our lives? What do we want to experience when the soul departs from the body? And amongst them is the person who kept delaying, and they rejected the truth that was so obvious, the evidence that is so clear. And then finally the day of death came to them and they departed. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in Surah Al-Mu'minun, until when death comes to one of these types of people, he says, my Lord, let me go back. He doesn't ask to come back for something specific other than what? To do righteousness with what was left behind. So I can do something good with what I left behind. And the response is one word. Kalla. It's denial. And the reality of this person's situation, again, a clear example of what some people will experience, that Allah tells us out of His mercy so that we are not amongst them. But Allah denies this request to go back. Because once the soul moves on to the next realm, it cannot come back to this world. Excuses live in time. And accountability begins when that time ends. Excuses live in time. And there's no accountability in this world. There are many costs for procrastination. And I think if somebody were to walk into the masjid today, or to come up to any one of us, the students, the professionals, the parents, the married, the single, the old, and the young, of all walks of life, and to ask you this question: if someone keeps procrastinating as a habit in life, what are some of the costs that they will have to pay? We can probably list over 100 examples. And they're very heavy. And amongst them is the hardening of the heart itself, qaswatul qalb, which is the worst of consequences. Because once the heart is hardened, it gets to a point where it requires pressure to be awakened, and some people will reject even that pressure, or calamity, wal-'iyadhu billah. It also leads for many people to the loss of ikhlas. They no longer feel as sincere in their worship. They no longer feel anything anymore. It also finally could lead to what? An-nadam, regret, bila fa'ida, with no benefit whatsoever. The type of regret that you cannot channel into any opportunity anymore because the time has ended.